Good day and welcome. It's absolutely lovely to welcome you to a sleep class to help you to enjoy a better sleep. So maybe you're here because you yourself are a wellness counselor, or maybe your wellness counselor has sent you to this particular video. So I want to say my name is Melonie Gobel, and I am a specialist wellness counselor myself. I'm also a wellness and lifestyle practitioner, an optimal performance coach, and an emotional aromatherapy advisor. But my passion is I love to help people. And so I want to share a little bit of my why before I get started so that you can understand a little of why I'm passionate about getting a better night's sleep. So my why started with someone I cared and loved very, very deeply. This is a picture of myself, my precious mama, and my grandson. And it was taken, he was about 4 weeks old when that photo was taken. It was taken in December 2019. And my mom had struggled through a lot of emotional issues herself. And I had grown up seeing that my mom was taking antidepressants. My mom was taking quite a lot of prescription medication. And my mom didn't have the support around her that I realize now that she needed. And it was interesting for me to experience and see that as a child. My mom would suffer a lot from headaches and migraines. She would go to the doctor, get injections, and she battled to sleep at night. And for me, it was very, very interesting to see how that evolved. And so when I got my first headache, when I was literally 16 years old, and I remember it clearly, it was in November 1987. I got my first headache, a really bad headache, and I went home and my mom gave me tablets. And so I realized when you've got a pain, take tablets. Anyway, fast forward many decades later, and my lifestyle, I had served in a safe house for abused women and children. We'd established the first in my area, and I lived with my family for 14 years in a safe house. During the day, I would run different community projects, and then at night, obviously, police would come all hours of the night and day, dropping off women and vulnerable children who needed a safe place. And so for many years, I did not have a good night's sleep. And I realized one day I had a problem when I couldn't find pain tablets. And I used to have pain tablets in my car, in my desk, next to my bed. And that night, my husband said, "Do you know what you look like?" And I said, "What?" And he said, "A drug addict looking for their fix." And I realized that I had a problem. And what I didn't realize then was that actually a whole lot of my lifestyle choices, not taking care of myself, not looking after how I was sleeping, I was averaging 3.5, 4 hours sleep a night, which was absolutely crazy. Now I realize that, but I was at that point. And so it was about 6 years ago, in fact, that my mom ended up at the doctor's again. And they had taken blood tests, checked her liver and her kidneys, and realized actually that her liver and her kidneys were damaged. And I remember sitting with my mom at the doctor, and my mom said, "Are you going to give me a prescription?" And the doctor said, "No, there's nothing that we can do for you." And I remember driving home that day, and we were both weeping in the car. And I said, "Mama, I don't know," because I'd spent the 25 years of my life serving other people and 25 years of even serving strangers and helping strangers. And he was one of the most important people in my life, and I felt so helpless. And I said, "Mama, I don't know what the answer is, but even if it takes me the rest of my life to look for solutions for you." And so that 6.5 years ago was quite a turning point in my life because I was looking for solutions to help my mama. Because at that time, she was on 27 tablets a day prescribed by doctors, and she'd been doing that for years and years. Now, you know what messed up her kidneys and her liver. So she couldn't sleep at night without sleeping tablets. And she had a whole host of different maladies that she needed tablets for. Now, I need to just add a caveat here. I'm in the healthcare world, and so I'm not against the biomedical model at all. But I do know that if my mama had other solutions, actually to provide for her, she may not have been in the position that she was then. And so we started slowly but surely. And if you are on medication, please don't stop your medication. It would be very foolish to do that. You need to do what we're going to be discussing in conjunction with your general practitioner and your doctor. Please take note of that. And so Mama and I started on that journey. And it took us about 6 months to get it to the place. And we worked on, and you're going to see, we're going to talk about lifestyle today. We're going to talk about a whole lot of different activities that can help you get to a better place in your health and in your wellness and your well-being. And so when I saw it started working for my mom and I, because I mean, I was my own guinea pig and my mom, and it was quite remarkable. It took 2 years to get my mom from 27 tablets a day to 7 tablets a day. And she was happier and healthier than she had been in a very, very long time. And so that's where the journey to wellness began. This is I have 3 children and 2 grandsons. This is my middle child, my beloved middle child. And in 2009, a taxi T-boned the vehicle that my husband and my 2 children were in. And on that day, the doctor said to me that I needed to prepare myself because both my children could die that day. And so Courtenay, this is Courtenay. All 3 of them landed up in ICU, and Courtenay was in a coma. And part of the brain that was damaged, he had to, after he came out the coma, he had to learn to walk again. He was in nappies, and it was quite a process. But also part of the brain that was damaged actually was the part that managed sleep. So at 13 years old, they put him on sleeping tablets. And so he started seeing what the journey was that my mom and I were doing. And in December 2020, he came to me and he said, Mom, can you help me? I don't want to live like this anymore. And I said, live like what? And he said, I don't want to take sleeping tablets anymore. I feel like a zombie. I feel lethargic. I've put on weight, all of these things, and said, can you help me? And so I said, yes, but remember, it's lifestyle. It's a process. It's not just an immediate. Well, within 2 weeks, he stopped taking sleeping tablets. And again, discussion with the doctors, we weaned him off and we created lifestyle and habits. So my journey towards this started with 2 people that I cared about most in the world, and love so much. And so this wasn't a journey to an academic journey, and it wasn't a decision to add to my counseling and my coaching practice. It really was helping people I cared about. And just to show you, he's just had those photos taken this year, and so I thought I'd add it to show you he's kept up. He's kept off the weight. He's living an amazing, happy quality of life that he is enjoying today. So I wanted to start this class off with you, explaining to you my why. So my why was the most important people in my life and helping them. And when I started seeing that it was helping them, I started sharing with some of my clients and with others who were struggling. And it's literally ballooned from there. Then, of course, it was COVID, and I had an opportunity to do my master's and my PhD. And I had the privilege of being able to do that in social work, but in wellness and counseling. And so what I'm going to be presenting to you today is what I discovered through my master's and my PhD research, and the incredible journey I've been on, and the testimonies of people that have really been helped by implementing and actioning some of these. So it's not an academic exercise. It was really a practical support that I was looking at and creating a sleep protocol that would help people. So it gives me such joy to share it with you. So we're going to first start off with understanding that this is the middle of a Swiss watch, okay? And it is so finely tuned. Each of those little cogs, each of those little screws, all of those things that are in there are critically important. And if I had to take out one of those cogs, one of those little wheels, one of those screws, let me tell you that that watch is not going to be keeping the right time. It may not even be moving at all. And I want to share with you that your body is an incredible miracle machine. You are a miracle. You have been designed so beautifully. And we don't realize that actually sleep is one of those very, very important cogs. Now, just have a look at some of these things. If you don't sleep well, These are some of the areas that are affected in your life: immune dysfunction, cardiovascular risks, metabolic dysregulation, hormonal imbalances. Ladies, sleep is so important for you. And it's interesting, as I was doing some of my research, that I found out that women in menopause, obviously they are having some hormonal imbalances and a whole lot of other things that are happening in their bodies, but they battle with sleep. And so if you battle more with sleep, then you're going to have more hormonal imbalances. So this is quite an incredibly important thing for you. If you can start regulating your sleep and getting better sleep, actually you might find that you are going to maybe be minimizing potentially some of your menopausal symptoms. So inflammation, it's interesting that your inflammation markers go up if you're not getting enough sleep. Cognitive impairment, so just your brain, your thinking, your memory, your executive functioning is all impaired negatively if you don't get enough sleep. You have slower reaction times. Your stress sensitivity goes through the roof if you don't get enough sleep. Mood disturbances, risk of psychiatric disorders, your decreased motivation, and neurodegenerative diseases, as well as reduced longevity. So the good news is, if you can improve your sleep, actually your quality of life goes up. Now, who doesn't want a better quality of life? So all of these reasons right here make me want to prioritize my sleep, make me want to prioritize. I want to have a good long life. I don't want neurodegenerative diseases. I don't want psychiatric disorders. And so I need to be prioritizing my sleep. My sleep affects almost every single body system. So when we start to realize that, we realize the importance of actually prioritizing sleep. So many times you might have found yourself, I've been there, you don't get enough sleep, you wake up and you're not in a good mood, you're vulnerable to stress, your stress agitation is aroused, then you have difficulty sleeping, and because you have difficulty sleeping, you don't get enough sleep. And it's this vicious circle. And so we've got to break these cycles. So it doesn't matter where you are in this space. Actually, we can do something. And you can start taking control of your sleeping. You can start taking control of this quality of life that we want to offer you. So let's have a look at this. There's a lot of reasons why people don't get enough sleep. And this was interesting because I got this in my master's research. For some people, it's substances. For some people, they have a low sleep drive. Pain was quite a thing with a number of the participants that I had in my study. Stress, circadian rhythm issues. Maybe it's hormonal, sleep environment, menopausal, anxiety and worry. Food, for some people, food is a trigger. Definitely lifestyle. A lot of people, nighttime routine, depression, unhelpful thoughts and beliefs and attitudes. And so maybe you can just in this moment decide what's going on for you. What are maybe one or two of the issues that you have? So just before we move on to some of the very practical things that you can do, I want you to reiterate how important and affirm how important sleep is for you and for your well-being. So sleep deprivation can influence this. Ladies, a big one, our ability to lose weight and maintain a healthy weight, our emotions and behaviors, learning and motivation, the body's organ systems and overall health, and our reaction time and ability to drive safely. So one of the studies that I found was that sleeping less than 5 hours a night for several days in a row. Now, this is just several days, but I know for me, I did this for years. Feelings of irritability, anger, hostility, depression, being emotionally reactive, a negative mood, being less friendly, less empathic, less emotional benefit from achievement, and more vulnerability to stress. You don't want this stuff. Life is hard enough as it is. So give yourself better protection by getting good sleep. Now, I want to just highlight this because for our young people, it's very, very important for them to get sleep. There is research that was done by the American Psychological Association that said if young people are sleep deprived, they have cognitive and emotional difficulties, poor school performance, they're prone to accidents, disciplinary problems, poor decision-making skills, and risky behavior. This is some of the very important reasons of why we need to make sure that our young people are getting good sleep. So that's a priority. and I'm going to help you in a bit. So this is just a pillar. I love Europe and the buildings that are like over 1,000 years old. Well, these buildings that have stood for 1,000 years have very, very strong foundations. And so I wanted to give you this picture to say, for your sleep that you're wanting to take you into longevity, your sleep that you're wanting to actually set you up for a good life and a better life, actually, we need a great strong foundation in sleep hygiene. And you're going to be learning a little bit more about that. So we want to establish good habits, but we also want to break some bad habits, maybe that we are experiencing. And so I'd love for you to identify, as we're working through this, I'd love for you to identify what good habits do I need to establish and set in my life, and what bad habits do I need to break. So let's understand a little bit of how this body of ours works. Okay, so when we were created as these incredible beings, okay, long before Eskom and load shedding and lights and electricity, okay, when the sun came up, it would wake something in our brains. Okay, and our brains, woo, we are ready for our day. We are ready to rumble. And we go out and we go work. And whether we were hunting or in a field or doing whatever, it didn't matter. We would go through the day. And when the sun started setting, it would be an indicator to our brain, it's now time to release the melatonin. And it's now time to go to sleep. And so that is how we were created. But what happens is that we've got these bright lights, lovely. I love innovation and to have electricity. But the problem is we want to have bright lights, electricity, our computers, the blue lights on our phones. And then suddenly we want to switch off the light. And guess what? We want to be sleeping. It doesn't work like that. So when you start understanding how you were created and you start working with how your body works, guess what? You're going to be positioning yourself for better sleep. So there are two, I'm going to say, non-negotiables in this class. Okay, one of them is you need to develop a consistent sleep routine. That is going to be critical. So if you write that down, I hope you've got a pen and paper, write it down, consistent sleep routine. You need to be going to bed at the same time every night, irrespective of whether it's a weekday, weekend, holidays, or work. Go to bed consistently at the same time every night. And research tells us you also need to be waking up at the same time every morning. So try it. I know a lot of people go, no, but I like my lying in on a weekend, or I love just lying in all day. Okay, remember we spoke about establishing good foundation and a strong foundation. This is one of them, developing a sleep routine. And so I'm going to take you through that, and I'm going to help you with that in creating your sleep routine. Now, it's not a one size fits all, and that's the beauty of it. You can almost, it's like I'm going to be giving you a buffet here, and you get to choose. There's two non-negotiables. You've got to have them on your plate, okay? But you get to choose the rest of the buffet, what you love to do and what you enjoy, and then you incorporate that in your sleep routine. But developing a consistent sleep routine is really critical in you enjoying a good night's sleep. So how do we go about that? We really do need to track your sleep. So on our wellness counselors toolkit resources, I have a sleep diary for you to be able to track your sleep. This is so helpful because most times people don't realize how poorly actually they are sleeping. And it's interesting when you start tracking it, you go, oh my word, I didn't know that actually I was misbehaving so much. So it doesn't look like this. This is the one that I designed. And if you love this one, I'm happy to send it to you. You can WhatsApp me. I will give you my number at the end of the session. But with the sleep diary, you're basically saying, what time did I go to bed? What time did I wake? How many times did I wake up during the night? How did I feel this morning when I woke up? And then it's quite interesting for you to also start saying, well, what time did I have a caffeine drink? What time did I have an alcoholic drink, etc., etc. Did I exercise? Did I move today? And by doing that, you start seeing when you do the good things, how does that affect your quality of sleep and how you feel in the morning? And then if you do some bad things or some maybe a participant of mine happened to be a professional athlete. They were one of my participants in my sleep study, and they had two serious party nights out of the 14 days that they did the process. And the one was a wedding, for example, and the one was the stag party. And so there was drinking that was happening, and you could see how that impacted their sleep that particular night and how they felt the next morning. And so you will be able to do that, whether it's food or whether it's there was a number of people who had emotional stresses. And so it's interesting for you in your sleep diary. So it's not going to ask you for an emotional stressor, but it's going to have a comment section. So, for example, one of my participants had an argument with their sister, and that affected their sleep. One of my participants had a break in at their husband's business that affected their sleep. And so there are a number of things. So if you can, and this is for you, this is for nobody else. So be as honest and authentic in your writing of your sleep diary as possible, because you quickly are going to be able to pick up patterns. When I was concerned about something or when I was worried about something, maybe it affected my sleep and how I felt the next morning. So that's very, very important. One of the things that as a wellness counselor, I find, and the next two slides are going to really speak to those. Most people are more sedentary, and I must be honest with you. While I was doing my PhD, I spent a lot of time sitting on my chair. So this has been me over the last little while. I have not been moving it as much as I should. That Vodacom song comes up, and I like to move it, move it. We got to be moving it, okay? So it doesn't matter whether you're a gym bunny or whether you're like me. I just love walking. I have 5 dogs. I've got 4 German Shepherds and a Husky. And so I love walking with my dogs out on the farm. And they know now I've been very, very good recently with it. I have a set timer that I work for 30 minutes and then I go walk around my house for 3 times. It takes me 6 minutes and then I back to my 30 minutes working. So whatever you're doing, whether it's going to the gym, whether it's playing tennis, go walking outside, go walk in the mountains, walk on the beach, walk on in the forest, it doesn't matter. Get moving and elevate your heart rate a little. And I find today, especially because we're on devices, our children are not moving it enough. And then secondly is about watching your diet. Now, I'm not going to go full vegan. Yeah, it's going to be best for you. I'm not saying that, but try and go as natural as possible and less oily, greasy, fatty, processed foods. So as a wellness counselor, and this is the comment I wanted to bring in here, it's like, can you try do as unprocessed food as possible, get rid of excess sugar in your diet and junk food. Okay, so this isn't about just going it's natural, but try and go as natural as possible. One of the other amazing gifts, I love this grounding. So you can imagine that there's a whole lot of energy and electricity in your body. And so one way that you can actually get rid of some of that is walking barefoot on the ground. It's free, it's cheap, and it's so easy, okay? So what I love to do in summer is I like to go and stand. My front door actually faces east, so the rising sun comes up at about 4:30 in the morning. I go stand outside. My dogs love it. I'm barefoot on the grass. It's a harder in winter, okay? I've got to admit it. And I go stand outside on the grass, and literally I close my eyes. And you must close your eyes. And I look towards the rising sun. And so you're not damaging your eyes by opening them. And then I just think about what I'm grateful for in that moment. So I'm grounding. I'm looking and it's resetting. Remember, I said to you that the sun's messaging wakes up our brain, goes, woo, we're ready for the day. Okay, so that we're doing the grounding, we're doing the sun, the light, the checking, the recalibration of our circadian rhythm. And I'm going, I am so grateful for this. And many times I'm hearing the birds at 4:30 in the morning. My dogs are there. I love them. I've got a beautiful garden out front. And so I'm just in that moment and I'm so grateful. And I'm saying that you start your day like that. I mean, what a pleasure. And it costs you absolutely nothing. So you're going to hear me talking about a golden hour. And I want to encourage you, you're going to see what we need to avoid in a minute. But before we get to what we avoid, maybe you love that cup of tea in the evening, or some of you enjoy coffee. Now, some people are more vulnerable to caffeine and some not. So, caffeine doesn't really affect me negatively. So, I can have a cup of coffee in the afternoon, for example. My husband and I love when he gets home from work, we love to literally just stop and have a cup of coffee. And when the weather's great, we go have it in our garden. We've got a beautiful sanctuary in our garden. We sit and have a cup of coffee and we connect. How was your day? How's life? And it's like a little debrief. But and it doesn't affect us at all. We love that. But my son, interestingly enough, the one you saw just now, Courtenay, he cannot have coffee after 2. So he's more vulnerable and susceptible to caffeine. So again, when you start marking, I had coffee at 4 p.m. and I battled to sleep that night, or I couldn't, I was tossing and turning. So you can start seeing yourself what it is when you have that cup of coffee at 4 p.m., for example. And you might have to be like Courtenay if you're sensitive and go, okay, I can't have coffee after 2. Then go down to 1 and go, oh, can I have coffee at 1? Okay, that's fine. But what's lovely if you want a little warm drink. So in South Africa, we're so blessed. We've got rooibos tea, we've got rosehip tea, you've got green tea. And I love to have that black, okay, so no milk. I don't add milk to it. And I literally take a toothpick. Okay, now imagine this pen is a toothpick. And this is my Roman chamomile. And I literally put the toothpick in the Roman chamomile and I just do that. And then I stir the toothpick. I don't even use a drop because it's too strong. So imagine that beautiful Roman chamomile, that fragrance, oh, it's absolutely magnificent. So relaxing, so calming. Or you can use lavender or bergamot. It's absolutely, you find your favorite. And if you like it a little bit sweet, okay, remember, we're not encouraging sweet, but honey, raw honey, is actually a natural sedative as well. And it's a lovely little tinge to add to your tea. So if you want to do that, you can have that at about 9 o'clock. So I'm going to talk about this. Ideally, you want to be in bed by 10. So I'm going to be working on, we're winding down and our golden hour is from 9, but you may find, no, listen, I want to go to bed at 9. Then that's fine. You just move yours an hour and then start your wind down routine at 8 o'clock. Okay, so, but I'm going to be doing from 9 to 10 because that's how I work mine. Uh, we all know that alcohol is not a great idea, and also neither is cigarettes. So you need to be avoiding these, and we have seen time and time again how these actually negatively impact a good night's sleep. So addictions of any type are actually not great. Okay, so for some people, having their glass of wine in the evening is a wonderful thing. They wind down, etc., etc. But I want to say to you, so many people feel, and it's a myth, it's not true. Oh, I sleep better if I have my drink. So this is interesting. You may fall asleep quicker, but you've actually been overloading your body with alcohol. So it's going to be working harder, and so it's going to wake you up in the evening if you've had alcohol. So again, just do a little test and go, okay, so I had 2 glasses of wine here. How did I feel? Did I wake up in the night? How many times? And how did I feel in the morning? And then try not having alcohol and see how you're feeling. Remember in the beginning, I mentioned I had 2 non-negotiables. This is number 2. So the one was creating a consistent sleep routine for yourself. The other is switch it off. So for 8:55 every evening, I have an alarm that goes off. Beep, 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 beep. And I know I've got 5 minutes to switch everything off. So if I'm working at my computer, I switch it off. If I'm on my tablet, if my husband and I are having a date night, when everything gets switched off, okay, at 9 o'clock. So I know when my alarm goes off, I've got 5 minutes remaining. And at 9 o'clock, everything is shut down. And that begins my golden hour. So if you want to go to sleep at 9, make your golden hour then starting at 8. So some people say to me, yes, but I've got a Kindle and I can put that. No, no, no. It actually doesn't make any difference. It's still affecting. So the amazing thing is we know that there are blue lights in laptops and televisions and cell phones. And even if you wear glasses, the blue light that's supposed to keep out the light, it doesn't work as effectively as actually cutting it out altogether. So this is one of the hardest that people have. It was hard for me. So I hear you, I know you, I feel your pain, but it's worth it in the end. What happens is we're lying in bed and we're catching up and we're going and we're scrolling, and an hour later we go, oh my word, I didn't believe it was like so. That's what happens to all of us. So shut it off, shut it down, and actually don't even have electronics in your bedroom. And so it was an interesting thing in my study. One of my participants, she suffered from a lot of pain, and when we did the interview at the end of the time, I said, "How did it go?" And she really found value through the study, and it was really, really good for her. She said, "But," and I was waiting for the but, and she said her husband was not prepared to put the TV off, so that TV was on the whole night, and she didn't enjoy as much of the benefit as many of the other participants did. So it definitely affects. You don't want flickering lights, and you don't want sounds in your bedroom when you're going to sleep. So, in this last hour, remember I said I've got a buffet for you. You get to choose what you want to do in this last hour. But for me, I wash my face, I do a devotional, I've got a physical gratitude journal next to my bed. You can do, if you want to do, you don't want to do, remember I said move it, but you don't want to be doing high intensity too close to your sleep time. And that's very, very important for you. You want to at least have 2 hours before you go to sleep after high intensity. And you also don't want to be eating a heavy load of food at least 2 hours before. So be aware of that. But if you want to do your stretches, if you want to do something like Tai Chi, if you want to do something like Pilates, soft stretches, that's 100% okay. And no problem with that, okay? But you don't want to be doing high intensity. And then I also do adult logic puzzles, which, so that's part of my wind down routine. And my husband gets into bed and I'm doing all my little things. And then I come and sit down and I do my logic puzzles with pen and paper. And then I'm perfectly ready for bed. So you fill this how you want to. This is important. Cool and dark is better than warm, because your body's going to overheat and wake you up because it doesn't want you to overheat. And so be comfortable in your space. Okay, it's very, very important. You don't want lights on. So I know that, funnily enough, in the safe house, every single woman and child had to have their light on in the safe house. And so I know different emotional traumas may need that, but for good sleep, you actually do need a cool and dark. So incorporating breathing and meditation is very, very important for you. And I want to encourage you again, something that's free, it's fully accessible to you. I'm going to teach you just one very simple breathing technique. And what I do is I put my light off in the evening, and then I go lie on my pillow, and then I begin to breathe. So I breathe in to the count of 5 seconds. I close my mouth and I breathe in through my nose to the count of 5. I hold it for the count of 5, and then I breathe out audibly that you hear me through my mouth to the count of 5. And I do that 5 times. So what are you actually doing by doing that? I'm going to do it with you once, but I do it 5 times. Okay. So watch what I do and you'll see. Do that 5 times. I'd like you to try it. So you can even just stop the video now and just try it. You actually, it like relaxes your body. You're activating your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the opposite of the fight, flight, and freeze. So you're saying to your body, you're in a good place. It's all good. You can relax. You can prepare for bed. And so while you're counting, you're also not worrying about stressed things. You're counting. And so it's actually stopping that mind turmoiling like a hamster running on a wheel. So you find, and in the beginning, maybe it's a bit hard. You can't do it for 5 seconds. Well, try 4 seconds and try and grow it. But using meditation and breathing is a very, very powerful thing. So I want to add, so we talk a lot about sleep hygiene that we've incorporated, and now I want to talk about the science behind essential oils. So when you inhale an essential oil, what happens is that I'm inhaling it from the bottle, okay, and it is going up just behind this very hard bone here in my forehead is my olfactory bulb, and there are tens of thousands of neuroreceptors that are waiting to receive it in the olfactory nerves. It then goes through into the base of your brain path, okay? And from there, it actually, so you smell it in, the olfactory bulb receives it, it goes into the amygdala, which is part of your emotional center. But it also then goes, one goes, oh, back around, sorry, and one goes through front to your frontal cortex. And literally within 20 seconds, the message is already received in the brain. Within 2 minutes, the brain begins to transmit messages to your body to calm, to relax, to ground, and that it's okay. And within 20 minutes, every single cell in your body has got the message. That's powerful. So in my study, we did two things. One, that they would smell from the bottle, but that they would also apply it under their feet, and they would also apply balm across their forehead. And some of the oils that have really been, there's a lot of research that's been done in essential oils that can help you with sleep, but these are just some of them, and you can take a screenshot and check them out. And again, there's a very personal, it's like a personal buffet. Maybe you love olives and the person next to you doesn't like olives. Maybe you love tomatoes, somebody else doesn't like tomatoes. And this is what it is. Maybe you love one of these fragrances. If you're very sensitive to fragrances, be aware that the essential oils have different base notes. So some are very heavy. So vetiver, for example, is a very heavy base. It's a very earthy. It comes from the roots. That's where that essential oil is coming from. So it's a very earthy smell, okay? And it may be heavy for you. So petitgrain, interestingly enough, is more citrusy smell. And so you might have your favorite. So what I would encourage you is just do a little bit of experimenting and find out what works best for you, because it's not a one size fits all thing. So in your last hour, maybe a bath or a shower would be a great thing. You never ever want to put essential oils straight into the water, okay? Because remember, oil, water, they don't mix. So my suggestion to you is Epsom salts, absolutely amazing, because it also draws some of the toxins in your body. So this is so good for you, okay? So Epsom salts, it's got magnesium in there. It's healthy for you. So take it in a handful or a cup, and you can literally just put do 2 drops of essential oil in the Epsom salts and put that into your bath. And then it actually is dissolved into the water, which is amazing. And then you can actually spend less is better with essential oils, because remember, they're really, really concentrated and you don't need a lot. So literally go for 2 drops. If you're going for a shower, you don't want to put them right where the water falls, because then they're going to diffuse straight away. Put them rather in the 2 drops in the furthest corner of your shower and just enjoy that steam. So taking a relaxing bath or shower actually is a great way for you to wind down. So with our study, remember I said to you it takes 20 seconds to get into your brain, 2 minutes for the brain to start sending out messages, and 20 minutes to get to your whole body, that beautiful message of calming and relaxing. And that's why I apply the oils at 9:30. So half an hour before you go to bed. Why? Because by 20 minutes, your body is ready and you're like perfectly positioned to go to bed, okay? And the beautiful thing is, even if you don't understand how essential oils work, and they work physiologically, they work emotionally, time doesn't permit me to go into the detail, and maybe I'll offer another class in terms of the detail of how essential oils do work, but they are incredible for supporting you emotionally, physiologically, neurologically, and a whole lot more. So just trust the science on this one, but you don't have to understand how it works, but it works. So you want to be applying the oils 30 minutes before you go to bed. So I do it at 9:30. I apply the oils, and then obviously after the bath, because you don't want to be having a bath or a shower after you've put on your oils. And then they're absorbed by your feet and transferred to your body and taken in by the brain and transferred to the body. So that is a beautiful practice to have. So, pillows and bedding. Did you know you spend about a third of your life in bed? So, make sure that's a good third. Okay. So, somebody like me, I'm a bit of a tomboy. So, I've ride bikes. I've had a bike accident. I've had a horse accident. So, I need to invest in a good mattress and a pillow. Okay. So, make sure your bedding is good, is adequate. And I'm not saying you've got to get top of the range. Just make sure if you, like me, have a back issue, you've got right support. Okay. And you can make your own little spritzers, like a little lavender spritzer, and put it onto your bedding and create a little ambiance in your room. Nothing wrong with that. So, this is the one time when I say you're allowed to be selfish. You are allowed to hog the bed. You don't want animals or children really in bed with you because it's going to affect your sleep. Obviously, don't kick your partner out. Please don't kick your partner out. But children and animals, not really great for the bed. So let's get rid of them. So, a topical application and massage. So, in the study, we did, obviously, they smelled from the bottle and they applied it, but massage is one of the most preferred ways actually to be calming, to prepare yourself for a beautiful night's sleep. And it's a beautiful way of connecting with your partner. So I love massage so much. I have a massage bed in my bedroom. So my husband and I love a massage bed, okay? And to be applying this, it's a beautiful way of connecting with your partner. And you know what? If you have pain, you can use certain essential oils to help and support pain. If you've had a stressed emotional day, there's beautiful oils to support emotional stress. Or if you're really wanting the essential oils, if you're wanting a little more action, and then, of course, there are wonderful, relaxing and calming oils for a better night to prepare you for a better night's sleep. And the beautiful thing here is that both parties, the one who's getting the massage, I mean, what's not to love, and the one who's giving the massage are both enjoying the benefits of those beautiful fragrances and just the connection and the intimacy that you can share. And many times it doesn't just end with a massage, does it? And we know that intimacy is really beautiful for getting a good night's sleep because you're releasing all those endorphins and it's just amazing, precious connection. And then you get to enjoy a good night's sleep. And with that in mind, I want to remind you that actually you should use your bed, they say, for two things only. And that is intimacy and sleep. Those are the two things. So I just want to show you many times this is what our life feels like. We are on we engaged in the storm of life. Our emotions feel like they are everywhere with us. And I want to say to you, by doing some of these and implementing some of these things, you can begin. There are blends that are available, for example, and why I love the boat analogy so much is if you look for a calming and restful blend, actually that calms the wind and the storm in your life. And if you look for a grounding blend, that drops the anchor in your life. So I just want to encourage you with that. It was quite funny with some of the participants that we have that snoring was a problem. And so you can sometimes get a respiratory blend, which is opening the airwaves, eucalyptus, and is very, very good for that. Tea tree is also great if you've got an infection. But it was interesting because I know sometimes my husband, he doesn't need sleep therapy because he falls asleep very, very easily. And it was like one night, it sounded like a marauding herd of buffalo that was lying next to me. And I was like, there's no ways I'm going to sleep with this. And so I went to get, and I had a breathe, which is a respiratory blend, which is a blend of those that help respiratory and I literally put 2 drops on his pillow, and within seconds he moved from a marauding herd of buffalo to a purring kitten, and I had a good night's sleep. So there's just some things, and again, this is not an emotional class that'll we'll do for another time, but lavender is the most researched oil in the world, and also the least allergic oil. And so lavender can be easily grown in your home. You can put lavender and share it with your children. It's so good and so safe, generally, lavender. So it's just absolutely precious. And for those who are suffering from pain, use a heating pad. Heat generally works well. Obviously, if the injuries just happen, normally they're like cold first. But I love the heat, and so you can use that. So let's recap quick sticks. Maintain a healthy diet, create a good sleeping environment, avoid stimulants. And stimulants can be your coffee, it can be the Red Bull, etc. Make sure your bedding is correct. Exercise regularly, remove distractions, relax the body, and you can do that from your breathing, from your meditation. So important. Reset your internal clock. And remember how we do that. We go outside in the morning, close our eyes, look at the sun, let our brains be activated. And then at night, try at night, and maybe don't put the serious light on, put a side lamp on which maybe has a little bit of a lower wattage or voltage, and then you can use essential oils to create a restful sleeping environment. So what I want to show you is very popular nowadays is diffusing. I've got a couple of recipes that some people have absolutely loved. I love to have my lavender. I love to have my breathe. And if it's been a hard day, one drop, only one drop of Roman chamomile really helps. So you can actually, again, experiment with the diffuser. But remember, when you have your diffuser on, don't leave the light on because that's going to affect. So it really is, this is the easiest and quickest way. And if you don't have a diffuser, what you can do literally every night, what I do at 9:30, I put 2 drops on my hand, rub my hand together, and it's called the cupping method. You don't want to touch your eyes ever. You don't ever want to put essential oils in your eyes, okay? You just cup and you breathe in from your hand. So if you don't have a diffuser, it's fine. But these are just some things. And then the roller ball, the roller blend. So you literally can just, you can buy your own glass bottles and you can roll it under your feet. If you've had a heavy day, you can actually roll it behind your neck and your ears as well. And then smell it directly from there, and you can make up your own. So I've got a sleep hygiene habit tracker, and I'm going to have this on the resource site so that you can go and download it for yourself, and you can start ticking off your habits as you complete it. I promised you that I would give you my details. So if you want to send me, you can get the audio, which is available on WhatsApp. So I want to encourage you, you can get a body scan audio, and my number is available there. So my question to you is, what is the first step that you're going to take after the session? And is there anything you need clarified to take that step? You're welcome to send me a note. I would love to hear your feedback. And it is an absolute honor and privilege. Now, I want to say as I close, sleep is not a luxury. It's your body's most powerful tool for healing, clarity, and vitality. Start small, be intentional, and give yourself permission to rest well. So I'm going to close very similar to how I started. With my mom, it was a step by step. Part of it was the gratitude journal in the evening. Part of it was being grateful, finding something that we're grateful for every day. Part of it was walking. My mother hates walking. And I'm like, let's walk together. And so that was something we did together. We used to apply the oils in the morning. I was blessed. My mother lived next door to me. But I want to say it took us 2 years to get from 27 tablets to 7. It took us 2 years, but my mother, it was the journey. I'm now almost 6 years down the line, and I want to say to you, it's an incredible journey, and it keeps getting better. I've moved from an average of literally 4 hours sleep a night. I literally average 7 hours sleep a night. And I used to be addicted to codeine because of my pain and the headaches and the migraines. Now, if I have a tablet every 6 months, that's a lot. So it's a journey. It's not a race. So I want to say start small. So go back to this, be intentional, and give yourself permission. You're on a journey. It's not a race. It's been an absolute pleasure to just share the last little bit of time with you. Please don't hesitate. I'm going to give you my number one more time, and you're most welcome to contact me if you have any questions or need further support. Have an amazing day, and I wish you blessing as you go and experience better sleep for yourself. Till next time.